My concern is that this individual not only is in the White House, but I would like to remind you that he have spent God knows how long, again, with Putin alone when in China. Yes, I am referring to G20 in China that have taken place just a few days ago on September the 3rd, 2016. So what the conversation was between Obama and Putin in China, very little we will know, if ever. But it does make me extremely uncomfortable to have Obama in White House during such critical moments, or I should say critical times as this. It's not Mr. Trump, the one that is a friend of Putin, as a free press or mainstream media suggests. It is quite the opposite. Having the individual like this in the White House is a very, very, very serious security concern. A quick input here, meaning that I feel extremely uncomfortable having Obama in the White House if considering a possible scenario that Russian and Chinese naval forces could arrive to America in support to Obama if a civil war would break out on streets of America. As you see, a failed candidate, presidential candidate, who really never was a choice on the first place. Hillary Clinton already have decided that the visit to Mexico would not make any difference for her anyhow. This is the news that was posted on September the 6th of 2016. If you really would like to learn about Hillary Clinton, it's not a difficult thing to do. All you have to do is type in the search, in Google search, like Hillary Clinton's criminal record, and boy, you're gonna get videos and reading material that can go on for, this one here goes for 25 minutes, but you can watch and read that not only for hours but for days. Hillary Clinton lying for 13 minutes straight. I don't actually believe this lady have done ever in her lifetime anything else but light. Pretty much we could go on and on like this. However, she is already completely discredited. She already knows that she is no longer a part of 2016 US elections. She knows that elections have already ended, as I have explained on previous video. Instead, I will concentrate on issue that other people have not seen one somehow. It is what mainstream press or mainstream media have attempted to depict Mr. Donald Trump as during his visit to Mexico on the August the 31st, 2016. And I'm referring to what main press, free press, have seen as Mr. Donald Trump's is controversial personality, double personality, if you like. And yeah, when it comes to Hillary Clinton, she is suffering from many health issues.
Welcome back to FedZap. I'm Dr. Ted Noel, and I'm here with you today to discuss the things that you can look for when you watch Hillary Clinton on the news. There are certain things that are going to give away that she has Parkinson's disease.
She is, in my opinion, and opinion of physicians, medical experts, And there's quite a few videos like that posted on YouTube, and they're really well backed with medical diagnosis. Not suffering only from Parkinson's disease. I actually believe, as what other people also suggest, that she also has some sort of heart failures. And on top of that, just a few days ago, a day or two ago, a few days ago,
3-minute coughing fit. What the hell is wrong with Hillary Clinton's health? Have a look at her 3-minute coughing fit as soon as she took to the stage in Ohio for her Labor Day speech, which
I'm sure you remember this. Pneumonia is blamed. In my opinion, however, it's all of the three above. But I'm here to talk to you, like I have stated, about much more serious issues, issues that mainstream media have blamed on Mr. Trump, and totally wrongfully have accused him of that, when it is in fact Hillary Clinton that is really heavily suffering from, more than anything, from mental issues.
You know, I have so many opportunities from this country. I just don't want to see us fall backwards. No. I put my arms around the mothers and fathers, the sisters and brothers, the sons and daughters, and the wives left alone to raise their children. It has been one of the great honors of my life to lead the men and women of the State Department and USAID. Well, yes, the whole night.
I don't know why that's funny. I mean, did you have any in-person briefings? I don't find it funny at all.
I'm sorry, a little note of levity at 7:15.
Well, I mean, the reason I say it's not funny is because it went well into the night when our folks on the ground were still in danger. So I don't think it's funny to ask.
Well, and some people think elections are a game. They think it's like who's up or who's down. It's about our country. It's about our kids' futures. And it's really about all of us together. You know, some of us put ourselves out there and do this against some pretty difficult odds.
That the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails.
Thank you. Me too. Me too.
You know?
Can you tell me a little bit more about why that's on your mind?
I have asthma and occasional
That was really brave. I really do think we need more love and kindness in our country. I think we are not treating each other with the respect and the care that we should show toward each other.
Including FBI officials. Look.
I don't know why that's funny.
So, as tired as I am, and as difficult it is to kind of keep up what I try to do on the road, like occasionally exercise and try to eat right. It's tough when easiest food is pizza. I just believe so strongly in who we are as a nation.
Is Hillary Clinton suffering from mental illness? Well, I think that there is no doubt that she is having a severe split personality disorder. I mean, you were able to see it with your own eyes. Just like Obama, just like Putin, Hillary Clinton also lives in the world of her own. She lives in a bubble, detached from reality, and have developed, like all these individuals have developed, this affection for insanity, because that's what this is, with the tolerance for lives. If you were to ask me, well, I already have partially responded what is wrong with the Hillary, but if you were to ask me, what is wrong with the Hillary, Bastian, what's wrong with her? I would condition that, I would condition that. I would say instead everything that is wrong with America. If you would say, if you would ask me what is wrong with America, Bastian, I would say Hillary. Hillary is what is wrong with America. And if I were to clarify this for you, I would refer you to a little clip that you have seen about that little girl that came and have complained to Hillary that she have learned how people are talking about her behind her back, on what Hillary would go and hug her and would suggest that how we need more, in the country, more respect, more tolerance and things like that. If I would give advice to that child, okay, or anybody else that would complain to me that people are talking behind his or her back, the only thing that would come from me would be simply a suggestion, advice that people talking behind our backs, everybody's backs, is just the part of the human nature. And it is something that cannot be changed. It is just who and what people are. And obviously, therefore, she should not concern herself with such issue, but instead toward prosperity, toward future, toward self-improvement, toward learning instead. Perhaps many of you will not even understand this, but learning to learn from everything. And as I have stated, with Hillary Clinton and America, that is exactly where the problem is. America is not concentrating on prosperity, but instead is developing an affection for insanity, a tolerance for abuse. I mean, just look at her crime record. Just look at the politics, the US politics, what American people have gone through. So, yeah, what is wrong with America today? Hillary Clinton is what is wrong with America. The apathy, the tolerance for insanity, for a failure is what is wrong with America today. And this is also a major difference between Mr. Donald Trump and between the Hillary Clinton. The choice, there is no such thing as choice. I don't think that healthy individual would be considering to choose in between Hillary and Mr. Trump. And look, Hillary Clinton at this point, as I already have stated, is finished. My continuing to talk about Hillary Clinton would be a waste of time. She is at this point in time no longer even a presidential candidate. She is just a troll. Mr. Donald Trump have, according to my picture, according to my estimation, at least 70% support amongst US voters or more. Yeah, you are talking. You're having a conflict right now with the voting polls, with media polls. However, I will touch that issue in continuation as well. And as such, obviously, he is a preferred presidential candidate for 2016. He already have won the elections, practically won the elections. And the purpose of Hillary have changed from presidential campaign to trolling. Okay, she will be used as a troll for Civil War development. She will be used as a troll for Obama. She will be used as a troll for mainstream media. She will be used as a troll for corrupt politicians. She will be used as a troll for, unfortunately, top CIA officials and FBI officials that are pressuring down the two organizations to comply with their agenda. Unfortunately, the FBI and CIA have come to the point when they no longer serve the interests of broad American public, but instead political agenda. This is a huge problem. And I'm not suggesting that FBI or CIA are totally corrupt, totally bad and this and that. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite what I'm suggesting. As I already have suggested in previous videos, the problem is with the top officials. Top officials, not the middleman and the one below. I believe that majority of the people and CIA and FBI are still good people. However, these people who are there to serve and protect you and your families are limited. There's very little they can do for you when they have Obama machine on the top of their heads. And they just have to act, you know, the way they are expected to act, or simply they go out on the streets. And the same thing is with the law enforcement. It's the federal law enforcement intelligence agencies that are pressuring local enforcement. It's a pyramid, chain of command that goes down and down and down. And that's how they get things done. So enough about this mind games when it comes to Clinton. Or Putin or Obama and so on. I don't bite any of this. I don't get in any mind games. I see the picture as the picture is, because I know that once you get into it, once you become part of that, you're never going to see out of it anymore. So I totally distance myself from it all, and I want to see the picture, the whole picture from the distance is how I like to see the whole thing going. Enough about this. Hillary is a troll at this point, and I will now dedicate myself further to a civil war issue that is developing with enormous speed. American second civil war that is developing thanks to these individuals that I have just mentioned, the individuals that are pushing forward this civil war agenda, because simply they will not go down. These people will not step down because there's too many skeletons in the closet that they have, and they will go until the end. I know that for sure. I know that for a fact that these people will not turn around. Obama pretty much explained that Trump would simply reverse everything he have done in the past 8 years, and that will be totally unacceptable. He is already looking, in a support in people. I mean, I don't know how much you have seen. He just today or yesterday, he seek attention, the support from people that they have to get involved, and that basically people should not take the elections for granted. And yeah, you have seen that video, that something must be done.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
It's a long time between now and 2016, and anything can happen.
I will not speculate on what Obama plans are, on what he is obviously more than willing to exercise to deprive American people from elections, from free elections. There already are severe violations that are taking place, as we know, such as freedom of speech violations. You should have just watched my videos and learn what's going on, for instance, on Facebook. Now less than 2 months prior to US elections. Will not concern myself with speculations on what he might do, because there is like a million things that one can exercise against American people, but will instead concern myself with issues that are known, issues that have taken place, and the issues that seems to me American public is not taking them seriously enough.
Of course the elections will not be rigged. What does that mean?
I will answer to that immediately exactly what that means. What that means is exactly this news, meaning that elections already were rigged, by the way.
Won their primaries on Tuesday, each setting the stage for a general election showdown in November. In Arizona, Senator John McCain fought off a challenge from a Republican Tea Party activist waiting the right to seek a sixth term. Senator Marco Rubio cruised to victory in Florida after reversing his earlier pledge that he wasn't going to seek re-election. And also in Florida, Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz beat back a strong primary challenge a little more than a month after she had to step down as chairperson of the Democratic National Committee.
Not that elections will be rigged. The elections already are rigged. This is the continuation of the 70 years old news, exactly what you see here.
The federal government doesn't run the election process.
If the federal government is not running the elections in the United States of America, then who does? Who does? Who is doing it already for 70 years? What are you talking about? A federal bureau investigation is blaming foreign hackers for state election frauds. Excuse me, what are you talking about? Are you referring to this news here? How the three have just re-elected themselves into primaries? I mean, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? FBI says foreign hackers penetrated state election system was the news that was posted on August the 29th. McCain, Rubio, Wasserman, Schultz win primary fights. I want you to see this. I want to record all this. 2 days later, look, August the 29th, 2016. What are you talking about? What kind of foreign hackers?
With just a little over 2 months to the elections, the FBI says foreign hackers have penetrated state election systems.
There is another issue that I would like to use to confront the federal government, which, by the way, the voting machines are electronically operated and can be manipulated at will, or I should say at convenience of those who already control our governments for the last 70 years, extremely easily. How come that the foreign hackers could possibly even come close to something that you federal government is claiming that cannot be manipulated, that is neutral, that is legitimate, and so on?
If Mr. Trump is suggesting that there is a conspiracy theory that is being propagated across the country, including in places like Texas, where typically it's not Democrats who are in charge of voting booths. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense, and I don't think anybody would take that seriously. But this will be an election like every other election.
If I break this last few issues, the only thing that I would state is that this elections could never ever possibly be the same as any other elections at this point. I mean, there was already so many violations that have taken place against Mr. Trump and his supporters that we could not even count. And on behalf of somebody who is not even qualified to be a US president, I mean, the involvement of the federal government in crime against Mr. Trump and his supporters And the support, the federal government support for Hillary Clinton's crime, well, that's completely undeniable. This is also taken from my news site, Auser Times. Good place to stop by sometimes. Check out what's new. And it is suggesting by New York Post that the FBI saw massive document destruction and have cleared intent to withhold material evidence. They have just ignored that obstruction and have even let her, Cheryl Mills, sit on the interview that was conducted again by the federal government, by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Cheryl Mills was in charge for Hillary Clinton's cover-up. Despite signs that Clinton's former chief of staff, Cheryl Mills, obstructed efforts by investigators to obtain Clinton's emails, the FBI invited Mills to attend Clinton's interview at FBI headquarters as one of her lawyers. Yes, it is absolutely outrageous. Well, what I found to be even more outrageous is a fact that a Romanian hacker who have helped exposing the existence of private email domain that Hillary Clinton have used when she was a US Secretary of the State was now sentenced to 52 months in prison by Obama regime via federal government or federal court, of course, in Alexandria, Virginia. Well, folks, it's a job of the CIA and the FBI to ensure that Hillary Clinton is not only protected, but that is operating according to protocol, security protocol that is dictated. She clearly have violated one severely when she used that private email domain, for one thing, and for doing the job that CIA and FBI have failed to do. These people are paid with your money to do what they have deliberately failed to do. This individual now, this Romanian individual who have done the job instead of them, was now sentenced to the jail.
A Romanian hacker who goes by the moniker Guccifer was sentenced on Thursday to 52 months in a U.S. prison.
Obama have mentioned also a conspiracy theory issue. Conspiracy theory issue. And why do I mention this here? I do mention this for your educational purposes, because let me tell you something, that 3/4 of America at least does not even know what conspiracy really translates to. Conspiracy translates into the word lie. Okay, in other words, people that are conspirators are indirectly called liars. Seemingly to, let's say, the word that is used to discredit people, and it's that people do not realize the real meaning of the word, let's say troll. Troll is also used to discredit people, and it translates into an idiot. Considering the issue, lies, when it comes to lying, who is a bigger liar than Hillary Clinton? Have you actually ever seen anybody in this world that would match the lying record of Hillary Clinton? She is a queen of lying when it comes to lying, and you know, she was the one who have called people conspirators and stuff like that. That much about the word conspiracy.
Donald Trump cannot become our commander-in-chief.
Donald Trump looked straight into the barrel of the camera, and he actually said this to Russia. Take a listen.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press. Let's see if that happens.
So he was obviously referring to the missing Hillary Clinton emails, allegedly. What do you make of that?
I find those kinds of statements to be totally outrageous because you've got now a presidential candidate who is, in fact, asking the Russians to engage in American politics. And I just think that that's beyond the pale. There are a lot of concerns I have with his qualities of leadership or lack thereof. And I think that kind of statement only reflects the fact that he truly is not qualified to be President of the United States.
Well, the individual that you have just seen, his name is Leon Panetta, ex-CIA director, and he could not be more criminal and corrupt, anti-American than what he is. He actually does represent everything that Hillary Clinton stands for, Obama, and people that I have suggested all along throughout these videos. You know, Panetta, what I really do find outrageous is that you have not only failed to do your job at Americans' taxpayers' expense, but continue to also cover up crime, because you do have those emails. Yes, you do have them. That there is no doubt about that.
The difference, of course, between a diamond and an email is forever. So once you write an email, you're likely to have it turn up.
And when you are suggesting that Mr. Trump is asking Russia to engage in US politics, I actually do not see anything more pathetic than yourself, Panetta, because you see, Mr. Pathetic Panetta, isn't that really, really pathetic that American presidential candidate is asking the foreign country, enemy country, for help to secure democracy within the United States of America, which you have promoted heavily against and have engaged against in every sense of the word. Corruption. I mean, that really is pathetic. That really is outrageous, Panetta. You are completely outrageous. You are extremely dangerous. You are a real threat to people of the United States of America. And the present boss of the CIA, who is no different than yourself, we will get there, is just as dangerous, or I should say even more dangerous than yourself.
Quote, most reckless president in American history, unquote. Joining me now is one of the signatories of that scathing letter, retired four-star General Michael Hayden, who served as director of both the CIA and NSA under President George W. Bush. He's currently a principal at the Shirt Off Group, a security firm that does work for the U.S. government. General Hayden, thanks so much for being here.
He says a whole bunch of things that just don't comport with reality as we, the 50 folks who signed the letter, as we understand reality to be.
This is yet another ex-CIA boss, director, also involved in NSA under Bush's administration. Huge cover-up, man. Huge cover-up, man. Involved in numerous crimes against American people, white American people. And he believes that the reality that he sees, okay, what he sees as the reality is what America should also see as reality, and not that he should see as reality the will of America. He just somehow doesn't get that.
Will the real Brennan please stand up? Because this is a guy that previously said these types of techniques helped us find Bin Laden, helped us find key clues from Al-Qaeda. So he's understood in the past that this is a tactic that was effective. He's clearly playing his part in the political campaign right now, trying to stab at Cruz and Trump, both of which look at the weakness of this administration, and they understand the appetite of the American people. They're willing to do something like waterboarding if it's going to keep us safe.
My comment on Brennan is concerns, issues regarding the Mr. Trump's idea to use waterboarding is just that in 2009, okay, since this guy worked for CIA, he is in fact the director of CIA. In 2009, during Obama's administration, and it was no better during Bush, when in Excelsior in Minnesota, that's a greater Minneapolis area, I was already for almost 3 years unemployed. I did not have the right to any kind of unemployment compensation. You're talking now about probably already about 20,000 job applications rejected since 2006. And you're talking about my being told in the face in Miami, Chicago, Minneapolis, Bellingham, in the face by state employment officials at employment agencies that there is nothing that I can expect, any kind of financial aid, any kind of unemployment compensation, anything at all from the state. And when in Slovenia in 2006, I was told in the face by the state employee right in this town here in Slovenia, and it was per state, that I have no right to even come to search for the jobs at the state agency. Police was waiting just outside of the building on any kind of physical confrontation, reaction, or my reaction, anything that could give them the right to just enter that building. As per this meeting with me, this individual, this state employee, head of the employment agency here in this town, was arranged exactly to set me up with such extreme persecution, or I should say everything in addition to what I already have described have taken place against me in previous videos. But if you'd like to learn more about it, you should read my diary, which I have updated on a weekly basis. So I knew exactly what was going on. But anyhow, if we go back to Excelsior, to Minnesota, you know, I was trying to save any penny, anything. Instead, for the most part, my apartments were empty. And when they were not empty, I got people that really CIA and FBI planted them inside, and I did not have any choice or, you know, ability to say no. The CIA, FBI did intercepted all my telephone calls, all my emails. Every time, whenever I used Craigslist, whatever I did, they were there much prior to anybody else. They do that. And the regular people would be deterred away. Weirdos would come around instead. And let me tell you, the apartment that cost me $750 per month, I would rent a room in it for $300, and that included the internet, electricity, and everything else. And there was still nothing. I was so desperate. I was really eating myself. All my life savings were practically dripping away, and there was nothing I could do about it. I mean, you folks have no idea how difficult that is. How difficult that is. What CIA and FBI, however, would do, that is something they would do, as I have mentioned. They would send, beside the weird people, I would get really heavy intimidations. threats, heavy threats, terror. Yeah, on one occasion I had, since this is about the waterboarding, I had individuals coming inside of the apartment, and what should be debate about the apartment, about utilities, and so on, have had turned into something completely unrelated to rental issues, okay? These individuals would start to ask me if I know what the waterboarding is. And of course, that in 2009, this was one of the main subjects, one of the most popular subjects since, or I should say, yeah, since Bush's administration. And this people would proceed to the window in the back of the apartment, in one of the rooms, and would suggest me if, you know, since I was on the second floor, it was like, oh, you're on the second floor, it's the second floor, hey, look at this. You see, this is quite, it's quite deep down, look at that. And I was like, I didn't get what these people were suggesting, what they were talking about. So, since this was the subject, a heavy subject, completely non-related to rental issues, as I have stated, they brought one completely out of blue, out of nowhere. People that were waterboarded, you don't know what waterboarding really is. You don't know what waterboarding is. People who are waterboarded, you don't know how they live. Some of them even jump through the windows. Some of them jump even through the windows. We're looking down on the ground from the second floor, suggesting me that something like this could basically happen to me, was the name of the game. But you know what, Mr. Brennan, despite everything that I have gone through and your people have done against me, I as an American feel that waterboarding and everything else that would help American people, or I should say help government agencies secure safety and well-being of American people from the terrorists, which Obama is now even importing in the United States of America, and it is you who are supporting the Obama. We Americans should definitely support even what is waterboarding, if this is what it takes to save American lives. And Mr. Trump did say that if this would be the right thing to do, and what I'm saying is if he said that this is the right thing to do, then I believe as an American, and I believe that every American should take his side, because Mr. Donald Trump 100% knows what is the best for America. Now let's go to the voting polls. I don't know how much you remember, but I did suggest that Donald Trump's support in America is about at least 70% or more. And what I mean by this is that if you would ask me, how do I feel about his presidential campaign, I obviously feel very strong about it. I firmly stand behind his every statement. I really appreciate efforts, everything that he have done. Nobody else have ever done anything like this for America. This is the work of genius. This is truly a leadership, dedication, love for the country. However, I have to criticize you, Mr. Trump. I hate to do that. Throughout your entire campaign, presidential campaign, you have not made any mistakes, like I've stated. Everything you have done what nobody else could have. However, I have to criticize you. You did make a single statement, a mistake. And it is this mistake that is already costing you more than what you even imagine. This is the mistake that is limiting you from eventually taking over the presidential chair even prior to US elections. I will explain that. And it is the mistake that is placing at risk, very serious risk, entire elections. Because as I have already explained, these people that I have talked about in these videos will do just about everything possible to cheat these elections. They already have, as I have pointed out, so it would be naive, it truly would be stupid to believe that they will not go for and will have these elections rigged. There are numerous scenarios, and this is the number one issue that the free press, mainstream media, Obama media have somehow managed to even what seems to be psychologically compel you into a mind game with them. This is what you're engaging right now, is a mind game. You have already greatly exposed the mainstream media. You people know that the only thing that is coming out of mainstream media about Mr. Trump is nothing else than a lie. However, for whatever reason, like I've stated, maybe this is a part of your strategy, Mr. Trump. I do not know. However, this is the strategy I would never ever take. It is the route I would strictly distance myself from. On latest polls, okay, the mainstream media, the free press, the world of lies and dementia is suggesting that Mr. Trump catched up with a Clinton. And further, now that he is about 2-3 points ahead of Clinton. This news was released on September the 2nd, right? And since now it is September the 16th, about 2-3 days ago, the polls are now suggesting that he's about 2-3 points ahead of Clinton. And they have managed to eventually obtain from Mr. Trump that he actually tweeted that he even was 2 points behind her. I mean, that means that they have psychologically somehow managed to steer him from basically what he stood for. Revealing foremost the truth about the media. Mr. Trump, what we are doing all along is we are more than anybody else. You're not fighting Clinton. You're fighting mainstream media. You are fighting the free press is what you are fighting. If I went to more details, I would point you out how Donald Trump's rallies looks like. They usually are at the stadiums with public ranging anywhere in between 20 to 40, 50,000 people. Exactly what you see here. And when it comes to Clinton, even rallies like this were recorded. And this is, I would say, embarrassing. It is something that never ever have taken place in a case of Mr. Donald Trump. The logic of Obama media or free press or mainstream media operates exactly like this. What you see here, let's suppose this for demonstration purposes, and it is related, depicts exactly what is going on in the US elections. For demonstration purposes, we will assume that what you see here is Hillary Clinton. She hits the fence during her presidential campaign race, with numerous affairs. The truth begins to come out to the public. And as she continues, she crashes more obstacles here, more fences. She pretty much is done for the race. Emails, Benghazi, you name it. Everything is coming out. Now, at the same time, on the other hand, you have a girl here for whom we will assume, for demonstration purposes only, to demonstrate how mainstream press or mainstream media, free press operates, Obama media operates, will be Mr. Donald Trump. I'll click here and let's see how the race will go on. As you see, that girl completely crashed over there. Oops, I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna stop right here. This, what you see here, in fact, is a finish line. Finish line. A finish line, and we're gonna name this finish line the August the 31st of 2016, or when Mr. Trump have totally determined the outcome of the US presidential elections in 2016. Click. She was here first. I think so. I don't think this girl was here first, but doesn't matter. Now, what really does matter, this is Mr. Trump, and as I have stated, he won these elections already. However, the mainstream media would want you to see the picture a little bit different, you know, a little bit, or I should say very much different. So I will reverse this to this here. And what we will do now, again, this is Hillary, and this girl, assuming that that was the one, is Mr. Trump. And basically what mainstream media would want you to see, the reality is that Mr. Trump is now catching up Hillary Clinton. Okay? He is now catching up Hillary Clinton. In fact, he is about 2 points ahead. This is the logic of the mainstream media.
I don't want to get any messages saying that we are holding our position. We're not holding anything. Let the Hun do that. We are advancing constantly, and we're not interested in holding on to anything except the enemy.
When you, Mr. Trump, have started the presidential campaign, you had about 80% of public support. 80% of US voters would vote for you when you started the campaign, and you made yourself damn clear per what your campaign is all about. 80%, and you have not changed anything throughout your campaign at all. So what exactly makes you believe that the voters who knew everything about your campaign have changed their minds through the night? Because mainstream media would go and they would start to suggest that you have lost like support among the voters just across the night. You know, that just doesn't happen. In reality, in a real world, that doesn't happen. That only happens in deluded heads of political activists, and this is what so-called journalists are today. So I'd like you, okay? I'd like you to distance yourself from viewing polls, or I should say, giving any kind of credibility to so-called journalists, to so-called mainstream media, to so-called free press, Obama media. I'd like to distance yourself immediately and continue to do what you have done throughout your presidential campaign, which is to expose the mainstream media for what they are. This is what your presidential campaign was all along. Americans don't have a problem with what you said. It is exactly the opposite. That's why I said that your support today is at least at 70%. At least. And an individual who have suggested you to adopt that type of approach, or I should say strategy, well, Mr. Trump, you have done it before. You should have done it this time as well. I do kick his or her ass viciously out of campaign immediately. Immediately. You should not have that individual anywhere near you. Anywhere near you. And why are these voting polls such a big issue? The greatest issue. The greatest issue of them all. Because of exactly what I have stated throughout this video. Or I, in fact, have proven you that we are right in front of the Civil War. Even more, we are right in front of the World War III, which might develop even prior to US Civil War. This is exactly why, or I should say, when it comes to solution, which I already partially have suggested, explained in this video. Now I'm referring back to arrest, impeach, trial. That can only be actually done if you have an individual that will take over that White House. And it's completely obvious that something like this should take place as soon as possible. And the only qualified candidate, obviously, is Mr. Trump. But, however, not with that type of logic, with catching up and leading for 2 points polls. That is not going to happen, folks. Even if Hillary Clinton would fail with her health completely, if she would completely pass out, that would still be not that strong signal to American people that should be. Because the truth still is greatly omitted, it's still greatly lied about, and it just does not place that stamp on a deal. The US elections can only be done, or I should say the avoidance of the Civil War and the World War III can only be done by either rescheduling US election day, moving it forward on earlier date, or to have Hillary fail that her health would fail indefinitely, assuming that you would go with arrest, impeach, trial deal, as I have explained. This is just how important voting polls are. So yes, I do like you to take your stand. I do like you to distance yourself from free press, mainstream media, and to continue with the greatest campaign in the history of United States of America. Because you know what, Mr. Trump? American people will not hesitate to give you a full support. Hundreds of millions of guns were sold throughout America in recent years.
All this stuff you've heard about America not wanting to fight, wanting to stay out of the war, is a lot of horse dung. Americans traditionally love to fight. All real Americans love the sting of battle. When you were kids, you all admired the champion marble shooter, the fastest runner, big league ball players, the toughest boxer. Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I wouldn't give a hoot in hell for a man who lost and laugh. That's why Americans have never lost and will never lose a war. Because the very thought of losing is hateful to America.
Thank you very much for watching this video. Please thumbs up, share with other people, And please stop by at my news outlet, the Auser Times, and click on the support button. Till next time.